All righty. What's up, y'all? Good morning. Happy hump day. We made it. I made it halfway through the week. I love it. Hope y'all doing well. It's just me today. Just me today. Hanging out. Talking about what happens. Break the glass. What do I mean by that? If you were laid off, there's an emergency. You got to break the glass of a fire alarm. That's what this title is. And that's what we're going to talk about. Not breaking a fire alarm, but when you get laid off, what do you need to do? Right? I think I get asked this question a lot, and so I want to talk about it. So for those of you who are tuned in, welcome. TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. It's great to see y'all this morning. Please say hey. We'd love to hear from you, Colin, my man. First on, I love it. It's good to see you, brother. If you have not checked it out, Colin and I caught up on Monday. It was a fantastic episode, and you need to check it out. Colin's great, so go check out that episode. But again, today, just me today. No one bailed. No one bailed. I'm trying to do a little bit more just my episodes because I can kind of get into a little bit more nuts and bolts and whatnot. And so today we're going to talk about what happens when you get laid off, right? What happens? Let's break the glass, right? Breaking the fire alarm, right? It's an emergency. We got to address it. So I want to talk about it because layoffs are still happening. And I want to be a resource for you and your friends and whoever's going through this time right now. So again, please comment, say, hey. The reason why I tell people to comment and say, hey, again, y'all know this for those of you who are commenting, but if you are not commenting, the reason why I tell people to comment is because this is a networking event. You're probably like, Taylor, what the hell? This is a networking event. What are you talking about? Listen, networking is doing something consistently and showing up consistently in a group of people that have similar interests, right? So that's what the show is this. Y'all have a similar interest. You're hanging out. You're trying to learn something. So comment, say hey, engage. And what my goal is between Unicorn Finders and Guidance Counselor 2.0. You're probably like, Taylor, what's Unicorn Finders? It's my other podcast where I highlight companies specifically doing cool stuff, right? And so realistically, if you struggle networking, I have created this ecosystem to where you can network off the back of my contacts and be pretty well off, right? So what I would do if I were you is I would comment and I would go through, spend time every single day and network with the people on the chat, right? Slide into their DMs. But here's the big thing, right? In the note, when you send a request, tell them, hey, I saw you on Guidance Counselor 2.0. I had one of my guys, John, he chimes in every now and then. He was saying, hey, I get a lot of requests. Can you tell your people just to send a note? Because I want to know where they're finding me from, right? So again, add a note. We're going to talk about LinkedIn because that's one of the building blocks of finding a job when you get laid off. So comment, say hey. Second thing is ask questions, right? Listen, you have my time. One of the reasons why I do lives every day is you have a captive audience with me. Ask questions, right? I feasibly just can't get to every single question. And so I just try to do this. And Braden, you're too funny as a cult leader. I tell you what, I'm in all black today. Guys, gals, it is May 3rd, Wednesday, May 3rd, and it is 54 degrees outside right now, and I am all sweats. It's crazy. Weather's wild. All right, so let's see here. I just got a comment from TikTok, from Python. Magdiel just got a job offer after months. Still looking for more contracts. I love it. LinkedIn for the win. Yes, again, we're going to talk about that for sure. All right, I want to go through everybody saying hey today. Colin, it's great to see you. Mark, Ricardo, Lambert, Brett, Braden, Jesse, Chris, Ahmed, Scott, Christina, Michelle, Brady, Alex, Parth, Garrett, Tanisha, Sal, my guy, Michael, JC. Taylor, have you heard any reviews for the NTC Elite program? No, I haven't even heard of that. Email me. Let's talk about it later. Taya, it's great to see you. Wonderful. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, we're drinking Kool-Aids this morning. I love it. I love it. Somebody said bedtime stories on TikTok. Chat GPT taking care of all resumes. We're going to talk about that. No. If you've used Chat GPT to write a resume, let me know. Fritzen, it's great to see you. And Awalo, it's great to see you as well. Felipe, it's great to see you. We got the crew there. All right, cool. So you're laid off. All right, you're laid off. You got called, hey, 4 o'clock today. We need to meet. No longer your services are needed. We have to move on. I'm sorry. First off, I will tell you right now, do not take it personally. Let me say it again. Do not take it personally. Right now, cuts are being made. Cuts are being made because of budget and because of overhiring, not because of you. Right? For the most part. Now, if you aren't doing well at your job, then that's another conversation. But as of now, most cuts that I am seeing is not because of performance. It is because of the market. And at the end of the day, there's not much you can do with it. There's not much you can do with it. So first off, don't take it personally. Try not to take it personally. I'm a very emotional individual. For those of you who work alongside of me, you can attest to this. I'm a very emotional individual. I get very heated. I can get very passionate. And so I get it. It's hard not to take it personally, right? The next thing, what I would do if I were you, take the next day off to process. Let me say it again. Take the next day off. If you get laid off, take the next day off to process. This is incredibly important. I think a lot of times in the job search, it's just like networking. It's just like working. Your brain needs a break. And you also don't need to act on emotion. If you get laid off at 4 o'clock and you start the job search the next day, you are going to be miserable and you are going to be emotional. And just take the day, right? Take the day to breathe, to think, right? Take a day. It's okay. The next thing, what I would do is get your resume set, right? So what does that mean? Get your resume set. Make sure your resume is written really well, right? So I have a bunch of templates, or I have a resume template on my page. If you go to vaco.com, /Taylor, go to my free resources, check it out. I have my favorite template. You can use it or trash it. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, you have to get your resume set. And when it comes to getting your resume set, one of the big things I would say, again, I can do an entire episode on a resume writing, and we're not doing that, right? We're just going through the steps here. So I'm going to be a very abbreviated through the whole thing. The first thing with your resume, the main thing with your resume is make sure it is achievement based. It is not that much task oriented, right? I wrote React code. Okay, for what? Right? Like, what was the software? What was the platform? What did it do? How many users? How much money did you save? Transactions a minute, transaction a second. Like, how big was the team, right? For me, like, that's the big thing with the resume, right? A lot of y'all wrote React JS, leveraged Node and AWS on the back end, used Power BI for data visualization, right? Those things, like, are just tasks. They don't tell me anything, right? So again, wrote React JS code for what, right? The front end. All right. Well, was it a migration? Was it a update? Like, what was it, right? Can you quickly highlight, or if they should, how one Taylor resume? Yeah, so I'm talking about right now, I have a bunch of episodes on my podcast on my YouTube to talk about resume writing, so you can go check that out more. But my main thing at the end of the day, you need to have your resume, accomplishments, quantitative data. Another thing, if you are a full stack developer, for example, and you are open to front end jobs and back end jobs, you need to have 2 resumes. And those 2 resumes need to be pretty different, with the front end focused resume focusing on the front end projects that you have done, and the back end resume focusing on the back end projects you have done, right? So again, those are the really, really big things for resume. So resume set. Second thing is LinkedIn, right? Again, go check out vaco.com /Taylor. I have a video. I literally have a 30-minute video that I did for egghead.io on how to write your LinkedIn properly, right? I can do an entire episode just on resume writing, just on LinkedIn writing. The big thing with your LinkedIn, make sure you have a bunch of keywords, right? Don't make it so functional, qualitative. It needs to be very, again, React, Node, AWS. Like, you need to have the technical jargon in your LinkedIn, because when recruiters search you, they search on keywords, right? I'm a recruiter, right? If I need to go out and find a senior engineer, a front-end senior engineer with React and Ember, I'm not going to search on LinkedIn front-end engineer. I'm going to search React and Ember and developer right? So you need those skills in your LinkedIn. And again, if y'all have questions, I see the questions coming in. I'm going to try to get to them, but I want to kind of power through this. And I'll get to the questions at the end. So if you have questions, ask them, but I'm going to get that. Yes, Dominic coming in here. I did a great LinkedIn with Danny Thompson. I actually need to link that in my stuff. I need to do that. So Dominic, thank you for that reminder. But I would check that out as well. I love Danny Thompson. Go give him a follow as well. So, all right, resume set, LinkedIn set. The next thing, get on LinkedIn, right? Get on LinkedIn. Well, first, okay, there's a lot of different ways to go. When you take the day off to think, write down things that you want next, right? I can't tell you the amount of times I talk to people and I'm like, hey, like, what do you want to do next? Like, if I find a job for you, what do you absolutely like? What are the key things? And so many people can't tell me, right? So I know we got ahead of ourselves, which I tend to do that time to time. So you get laid off, take the day off the next day to breathe, think, meditate. And during that day, write down the things that were bad at your job, the things that were good at your job, and what you want to do next, right? So you can have a clear, defined focus. Because I think what a lot of times happens is people like get laid off and they get on their computer and just go, the fuck am I doing? Right? And they just start like randomly messaging, right? Do you have a passion for, like, who do you want to go work for? Airbnb? Are you passionate about travel? I don't know. Go look up, go on Google and just Google hottest travel startups in 2022, 2023. Go look for that, right? I had an interview yesterday with a head of engineering here in Nashville. I can't wait to release it. It was in person. It wasn't live. And for me, one thing we talked about is passion, right? Like, if you're passionate about the healthcare industry because your family has a long history of cancer, then why don't you look up healthcare, right? Do something you want to do, right? I'm obsessed with travel, right? If I ever wasn't at Vaco, I'd probably go look at a travel company that needs, head of people or something like that, right? So again, take the day, write down pros, cons, what went well, what went wrong, so you have a good framework of what you want to do, right? Then get your resume, then get your LinkedIn set. Then after that, get your resumes on the job site profiles. Dice.com. Dice.com, if you're not familiar with it, it is a tech-specific job board, right? Check that out. Indeed, we all know Indeed. Career Builder, we all know Career Builder. Monster, yes, it still exists. I would still upload it, right? And then some other, I've heard of Angels List, I think is another one I've heard from a tech, like VC startup side of things. So those are the job boards what I would look at, right? The next thing after you've uploaded your resume, right, and after your LinkedIn set and ready to go, what I would start doing is I would set a reminder and I would put out one piece of content a day to update people on your job search, right? I want to give a shout out to Tomas. I don't think he's here. I didn't see him comment. Tomas is an individual who just got laid off. That dude is documenting his job search. Like, had a great interview, had a bad interview. I actually missed this question around AWS Lambda, around how do you use it in this instance? How would you use it? I got this wrong. Crowdsource your answers, right? Crowdsource your answers, right? That's another thing. What I would do is literally start posting content, documenting your journey on LinkedIn once a day. The other thing I would do on LinkedIn, like I would spend and also too, by the way, your job search is a 9 to 5, 8 to 5. I'm gonna say that again. Your job search is an 8 to 5. Everybody I've talked to right now is exhausted, and I understand, and I'm sorry. I really, really am. It is rough out there right now. But the job search is not I say it all the time, not a open up your laptop, turn on Netflix, have a cup of coffee, send some DMs, and then you're done with the day, and you're just going to go and do whatever you want to do. It is a 9 to 5 job. You need to approach the job search like it is your job. Wake up in the morning, have the same routine, keep a routine. That's another important thing, right? Keep a routine. Incredibly, incredibly important. And I see all your questions coming in. I will get to them as we get to the end. All right. So again, to recap, take the day, write down pros and cons, what you want to do next. What are you passionate about? The next day, update your resume. The next day or the same day, LinkedIn update. And then we're going to start posting content every day, updating your job search. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get on LinkedIn and we're going to start messaging people, right? You can message people and network with people on a variety of different strategies, right? You have your company first approach, right? So if you want to go work for Airbnb, you get on LinkedIn, you search Airbnb, and you start DMing people that work at Airbnb. Hey, my name's Taylor. It's always been a dream of mine. I'm super passionate about travel. I've stayed in a bunch of Airbnbs. I'd love to talk to you for 6-7 minutes on your time about working for Airbnb and how you like it, right? You send a bunch of those messages. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is job first, right? So you get on the jobs category of LinkedIn and you search jobs. And again, the big key, if you're going to do job first approach on LinkedIn, what I would do is I would specifically keep the filter very, very tight, right? So you can see what jobs were posted like 24 hours, a week, 2 weeks, 30 days. With the job market right now, the way it is, it's 24 hours, right? And what I would do is I would go through and I would see, and one of the other filters is you can pick out the seniority, right? So if you're junior, there's like entry, internship, apprentice, and associate. I would select all those because those are all kind of the same. And then here's the deal. The LinkedIn, they need to fix their AI when it comes like to job scraping on LinkedIn. It's not the best. But then what I would do is if you see a job, then go to that profile, message people. If you need to a quick apply, you can quick apply. Here's the big thing. Before we're applying to jobs, we always make sure that we check if we know anybody at the company or know somebody who knows somebody at the company, right? So for example, let's say, and I've had a bunch of people message me this too. Let's say you go on Vaco, you want to work at Vaco, and you see that I'm connected with the manager that posted a job, but you're not connected with that manager, but you're connected with me. Message me, hey, I see that you're connected with so-and-so. Can you make an introduction? I've made so many of those introductions, and most recruiters will make those introductions for you, right? So that's another thing. Another thing what I would do when it comes, I would set up some sort of database, right? Excel. I've heard Hunter is good, Trello. You got to keep track of everything. Also, another thing what I would do is create a custom job search email. You don't want to be emailing your mom about your Thanksgiving Day plans and accidentally send that to a manager, right? So if I were to start the job search now as Taylor Desson, I would have Taylor Desson job search at gmail.com. I would put that on my resume. I would put that everywhere, right? What that does is it allows you, I don't know about you, but I basically use my email almost like a to-do. Like if you message me on any other platform, I say, just email me and I'll get to it. So if you do have a central email, you can kind of keep track of everything. And also if you're using Trello, I love Trello. I'm a big Trello fanboy. I would have your Trello set up in, submitted, first round, second round, third round offer. So you can keep track and drag the cards through to keep track of everything. Because another thing that I see, again, the job search right now, it's all about timing. It's timing, right? So if you submit an application and you don't hear anything, you need to know when you submitted it on the Trello. So then maybe you can follow up in 2 or 3 days, right? And again, I'm telling you, the job search is more frustrating now than ever because you're getting laid off, not because of anything you've done. And the job search right now is so flooded with people that a lot of times it's just about timing. You could talk to a hiring manager. You can literally talk to a hiring manager like at 3 o'clock and they could have laid somebody off at 2 o'clock and it's like perfect timing, right? So again, that's why you have to have activity, right? Another thing, and again, keep the comments coming in, y'all. I think this is going to be a longer episode. I'm fine with it. I really felt the need to speak this to you all today. So we'll go a little long. So keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming, and I'll get to all of them, I promise. And so again, timing, I'm trying to think what else. Follow up. So connecting, also just liking and commenting on LinkedIn, right? So every morning, what I would do is I would get on LinkedIn, and this is what I do too. Every morning, get on LinkedIn. I would make a post. I honestly, now that I'm talking out loud, I would literally post about questions you missed in an interview and see if you can just crowdsource answers to learn. I think that's like the best way to create content. The next thing what I would do is you get on LinkedIn in the morning, and then I would just comment and like and engage with people for 15 minutes. So literally just scroll through LinkedIn and just say, man, this is great. Hey, this is great. Man, this is a great comment. Well, I kind of disagree, and here's why. Right? So that's what I would do every morning, right? LinkedIn every morning. Interviewing. So again, you set up Trello. I'd have a Google Doc or a journal to keep track of all the questions you missed. So it's kind of this ongoing, cheat sheet that's happening. I'm trying to think what else. Again, the job search is like pretty tedious, and so I'm trying to go through the steps in my brain. If I'm missing anything, if anybody's watching this and I'm missing anything, please let me know. And then so the Trello keeps track of everything. Hey, again, so interviewing is forced networking, right? So what I would do is I would always try before you interview or after you interview, I would connect with all of your interviewers, send them a note, send them a thank you note in the invite. That's another tip I would do, right? It's forced networking, right? Like I see people that they're like, I've been on job market for 6 months. Well, that's 6 months of networking, right? Are you taking advantage? Are you following? Are you connecting with people on LinkedIn? All that stuff. So again, like you got to do those tips and tricks. Oh, I didn't even mention recruiters. So recruiters start early, right? So LinkedIn, resume writing, LinkedIn writing, get that set up. Then I'd go to recruiters, right? So I'd probably alternate days, to be honest with you. I would alternate one day trying to just network with recruiters on LinkedIn, DM them, see if you can't get calls set up. Then the next day I would do the DMing people at the companies you want to work for. I'd probably alternate. And the reason why with recruiters is all about timing with recruiters, right? You can message a recruiter and they could have a job open up the day before and you're a perfect fit and you could get placed, right? So I'd spend a lot of time networking with recruiters as well as the company. I'd probably alternate days just so you don't get burnt out of doing the same thing over and over again. What I would do is I'd probably keep track of the good recruiters that you like. I would do the BCC trick that I talk about. So the BCC trick, you get their emails, you get the recruiters' emails that you really like, you lump them all in an email, a BCC, which is blind carbon copy. I learned that recently, didn't know that. And then you just email them every 30 days. Hey, I'm still in the market. Just reminding you, right? Just reminding you. Hey, 30 days. Again, hey, still in the market. Remember, I'm a senior .NET developer with, strong React skills. Again, just reminding you, right? Again, it's all about follow-up, all about follow-up. And then finally, if you want to dumb everything down, try to have one video or phone call a day with somebody new in your network, net new, right? New contact. You're probably like, well, that seems easy. Well, the problem is you got to send a lot of messages to get people on the call, and then you got to schedule a call. So even if you get back to me today, you may not have the availability till Friday or next Monday, and that's not enough people to talk to. You need one net new contact a day, phone or video. Talk to them, ask them questions, all of that stuff. Jace goes, do I respond to TikTok comments? I do. I try to. I do banking recruiting and I want another remote job. Yeah. Again, right. I mean, I'd probably network with the crap out of recruiters right now. Right. But yes, I do respond to TikTok comments. All right, cool. I think that's everything off the top of my head. I'm going to go through all of y'all's comments and questions here. And then if anything pops up, obviously, we can get to it. Let's see here. Yeah. Chris comes in here and goes, those notes with connection requests are so helpful. It reminds you of how you connected. Absolutely. Let's see here. Chat GPT has some interactions with prompts. I love that. Again, I haven't used Chat GPT. I know some people have used Chat GPT to write cover letters and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm glad it works. I'm glad it works for you, Tanisha. Brent, it's good to see you. Tanisha goes, I was actually happy. And listen, I love that. You know, I've actually talked with a lot of people lately that the job search was their job was draining them. And honestly, sometimes it's a relief to get laid off. So I feel that. Oh, I love this. Don't sacrifice the basics like getting good sleep, eating right. Okay, I love this. Jonathan, is this you? Who is this? This is amazing. And I'm so glad, again, this is why I like questions, because I can't remember everything on how to approach a job search. So I'm really big on schedules, keeping a schedule. I'm really big on the Whoop. I don't know if you've heard about the Whoop. It's a wearable device and it keeps track of like your heart rate and resting and how your body's performing. I'm a big fan of this. Just because you got laid off doesn't mean like it gives you an excuse to stay up till 1 a.m. drinking, right? Now, maybe the first night, sure, right? But for me, sleep, working out, eating right, going out and getting sunlight. Listen, if you are hunched over on your computer every day of the week, not getting exercise, not eating right, your output's going to start decreasing, right? You're not going to be as sharp. Your conversations aren't going to be as intentional. This is insanely important. just because you don't have a job, you still need to approach the job search like you have a job, right? That routine is so underrated. It's so underrated. Brian comes in. How would someone break into Brian? I actually have done a few episodes recently on breaking into the tech industry. Most recently with Ashton on my YouTube page. So go check that out. But that's a whole nother episode in and of itself. Joe, it's good to see you. Tanisha comes in here. I love this. It was like I could finally breathe these past few months of hanging out with friends and family. I love that. And again, listen, here's the deal. If you have the financial runway to not start the job search immediately, I've talked to a few people that have taken a month off, 2 months off, like on their own. Like they need that. I'm a big fan of it, right? But again, if you don't have the finances to do that, you're going to have to jump into it pretty quickly. Let's see here. Again, going through the questions. Any tips from Braden? Braden, God, that beard is just glorious. Any tips on crafting a resume as someone trying to transition into tech, as someone who's not? Okay, yeah. So with this, Braden, again, we're talking about, finding your passion. I would try to create something like an app for painters. I don't know the industry, right? All I know, props to you. I wish you lived do you live in Nashville? We always need painters at my house. So let me know. But yeah, I mean, again, I would check out. So Braden, I did an episode with Eric Anderson on my YouTube recently, and we talked about this, about transitioning. Eric Anderson's a senior engineer at Yum Brands like KFC. And he actually is really passionate about this. So check out my episode with Eric Anderson on this. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to create experience for yourself, as in like volunteer, build something, go to a small business. Like I did a live yesterday, and somebody's first website was a Mexican restaurant next door to their house that they asked. So again, really, really important. But yeah, just ask around. You're going to have to get experience before you get the experience. Does that make sense? Deepak comes in. When will the ITB market will be on top? Any tips? I don't know. All I know, it's on the bottom right now. It's not good. Should you leave your experience section on LinkedIn less detailed? So this is interesting, Tanisha. I'm glad you asked this. Listen, I'm only one recruiter. I am not the end all be all. I'm not. You could shop my advice around to other recruiters, career coaches, and they may tell you I'm wrong. You know what? That's okay. In my experience, your LinkedIn is very to the point, like 3 or 4 bullet points, very techy. Your resume could have a little bit more fluff, a little bit more, not much. But in my opinion, like when I go to your LinkedIn, I just want to see like real fast, what did you do? What technologies did you use? Right. I don't want to see like all the other stuff. Great communicator. You shouldn't put that anyways in your resume. But yeah, in my opinion, your LinkedIn is like very to the point, 3 or 4 bullet points. I can open up and go, okay, Tanisha coded in React, Node, AWS, and she built a app that deployed to 50 million people and did this, right? That's what I want. Let's see here. So Colin is an engineering manager. And this is great. I'm so glad Colin timed in here. If I'm reading a resume, I'm more interested in what you built than the specific tools you use. Again, this goes back to the resume thing. Don't say I wrote React.js. I leverage Node and AWS for the backend perspective, right? Again, those are just tools. What did you build, right? What accomplishments did you do? I love that, Colin. Thank you so much. I'm going through questions. Your question from Eugene. Mr. Consistent, thanks for tuning in, ma'am. Does Dice.com provide good results? I hear people. Here's the deal. All job boards kind of suck. They just do, right? There's a lot of spam. It happens. But you need to increase your chances, right? So does Dice.com provide good results? And when I was heavily recruiting, like everyday recruiting, it was always my favorite platform because, if you're a quality assurance tester on the software side and you're on Career Builder and I search quality assurance, I get like construction quality assurance people and like hospitality quality assurance people. If I type quality assurance engineer on Dice, it's only going to give me like true tech quality assurance. So that's why I like Dice the best. Asking others I worked with, what are my strengths? Ooh, I love this. Tanisha, I don't know you, but thank you for tuning in. I love this. Right? Hey, yeah, ask your coworkers, hey, listen, be brutally honest with me. What do I need to work on? Right? Because I think a lot of times we enter the job search and we feel weird, right? We're laid off. It's like, what do we do? Did we do something wrong? But again, probably not. but I would ask your manager or ask like your lead or a friend, like, listen, I need you to be brutally honest with me. What did I do well and what do I suck at? And don't get defensive. And listen, I get defensive all the time. All the time. I'm in counseling for it, right? Don't get defensive. Just shut up. You ask the question. If they tell you, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, you're pretty rude sometimes. Don't go, no, I'm not. Just say, okay, all right, I'll work on that, right? So, thank you again, Tanisha, for that. Dominic goes in, how would you rate job boards versus seeking out companies? So they're two different things, Dominic. So job boards is a place to hold your resume for recruiters and hiring managers to find you. Seeking out companies and directly applying is you're doing that on your own. I would always say apply on their site over. I would always say apply, but it's two different things. It's just two different things entirely. Andy, what are your best practices for Trello as it relates to the job search? Again, for me, I'd have a column. So for those of you who do not know what Trello is, it's like a Kanban agile visual, like drag and drop thing, right? So there's columns and then there's cards, like Post-it note cards, it looks like, and you just drag them to show progress on how things are going. So what I would do is I would have the Trello board. I would have, I think it may be a little tedious to try to keep up with every single resume you submitted to a company or whatever. So what I would do is I would just have first round interviews, second round interviews, third round interviews, fourth round interviews, offer. I don't know how many rounds there are. I would just probably do 4. And then like, if you get an interview request, throw the card up on Trello on first round, right? And that way you can keep up with stuff better. Let's see here. Alex comes in. Totally agree with this. Even if you don't have connections, reach out to people at the company anyway. I just had a call yesterday where the person was saying that I was the only person who reached out. You know, Alex, I need to frame this and put this in a museum because the amount of hate that I've gotten on one TikTok about this strategy is ridiculous. People are like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is terrible. I'm kidding you. Go on my TikTok. It's got 800,000 views. Yes, that was a humble brag, but the amount of hate I've gotten, like, it works, people. It works. Now, a lot of people probably won't get back to you, but that's okay. That's life, right? That's life, but it actually works. Let's see here. Trello, Asana. Yeah, Asana is another good one as well. Do a self-evaluation before studying. No one give you, yeah. I love that, Sal. I love that. Trello. Yep, absolutely. Notion's another good one. I love that. I have a template for job interviews. Tanisha, if you don't mind sharing, I will give you props on my website. So feel free to email me, taylor@baker.com. I'd love to give you credit and share this with other people. Dominic comes in. LinkedIn has lower engagement than Twitter, so it's easy to stand out if you interact with people. That's interesting you say that. I think it may be the opposite, but also too, like, I totally get where you're coming from. But again, just engagement is good. All of y'all commenting right now, it's engagement. This is exactly what you need to be doing. I sometimes take it. Eugene says this. I sometimes take an interview just again. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Timing is key. You never know. Again, yeah. So, Joe's a recruiter. I mean, Joe can, like, literally, I've had people that have called me out of the blue the day I've gotten a job and they're like a perfect fit. I don't know how it happens, but it works. That's why, again, follow-up in my perspective is one of the most underrated qualities in the entire job search. Braden, what's the best way to approach recruiters who've never interacted with any? Yes. You're going to kiss a lot of frogs. I have a bunch of episodes on this too as well, Braden. Definitely check out my YouTube. At the end of the day, it's a lot of kissing frogs, right? It's messaging recruiters like, hey, listen, I saw where you recruit on the software engineering side. Would love to chat with you. Can I pick your brain for 6 minutes? Right. But it's just again, it's just a lot of messaging. It's a lot of messaging. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, TJ, thank you again for your comment on the routine. I appreciate that. I like this. ChatGPT is a good supplement. What you already have on your resume to make it clear and concise, but don't use chat. Yes, I agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. Let's see here. Alice comes in here. I think it's important to get as many different perspectives from recruiters, hiring managers as you can. Yeah, like gathered. I love this, right? Listen, most recruiters, especially if you're earlier on in your career, like Braden, it's like a lot of recruiters won't be able to help you like find a job because we don't get paid to find junior people, but we can give you feedback. So always ask for feedback, right? If you talk to 15 recruiters, you need to get 15 bits of feedback on how you talk, how you ask the recruiter, hey, listen, like, you've talked to me now for 10 minutes. Like, any tips for me, right? Always ask for feedback. Alex, I love that so much. Let's see here. What about a dev website? How important is that? Here's the deal. And Maria, I'm glad you're bringing this up. I really, really think so. I see so many developers go, well, I'm not going to start the job search until I have my portfolio side up. That's just not good. Resume, LinkedIn. Resume, LinkedIn. I would have something that you can show, but resume, LinkedIn. Resume, LinkedIn. That's the most important part. How important is keywords in your resume? Very important. Very important. Again, recruiters and hiring managers, we search on keywords. So please, like, well, in my word, problem solving is not a keyword, right? Keyword is like how it relates to what your job is, right? If you're a developer, right? .NET, React, Angular, AWS. If you're a project manager, PMP, Lean, Agile, waterfall. I don't know. Those are the terms. Those are keywords, right? Keywords are specific things that relates to your job. Problem solving, innovator are not keywords. They're not keywords. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, that was it. That was good. That was really, really good. I didn't do my shots at the beginning, but I do. Oh, what up, Dr. T? It's always good to have Dr. T on the show. Dr. T is amazing. Please go check her out. She has her own stream as well. She's amazing and a wonderful resource for individuals. So please go check out her information. I do want to give a shout out to two people again. That conference. So that conference, they are the official coffee sponsor of Guidance Counselor 2.0. They are a tech conference, actually has coffee beans. And so go check them out. They also have a conference in July that I will be at, and I will be keynoting. I'm very blessed. So go check them out. Finally, David Roberts. Actually, I need to update this real quick. Well, whatever. So David Roberts is a developer turned recruiter, and I really, really like him. And he has a book that basically helps people through the job search. If you click this and use it Taylor 10, you get like 10% off. And I highly recommend it. I think this guy gets it. I'm very selective and obviously who I promote. And I love David Roberts a lot. So I would go check that out. Highly recommend his book, especially somebody who's been a developer that's now turned recruiter, that's seen both sides of it. And also I did interview him a few weeks ago. So you can check out that episode as well. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, that is it for the day. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Guidance Counselor 2.0 tomorrow. Unicorn Finders, we are going to be live talking with Kate O'Neill and Teaming. Teaming is a software to help promote good culture and performance within your organization, leveraging AI. So it's going to be fun to talk with her. They've been on a lot of lists lately. So that's 9:30 a.m. Central tomorrow, Unicorn Finders. Go check that out, The Unicorn Finders on LinkedIn. That's where we do most of our content from. And then Friday, I'm chatting with a recruiter on Recruiters Anonymous, my other endeavor, on how to navigate the job search. And it's going to be a good one. So y'all have a great one. I appreciate y'all. Hope you all have a great day. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Unicorn Finders. Peace.